and welcome back to the Turning 30 podcast, a place where we talk about what it's really like to be in your 30s. I'm your host, life coach Emma Wilson, and I'm here to help you feel better, get unstuck, and be more confident in your 30s. I'm also here to help you have better relationships with others, better relationship with yourselves, better friendships, more fulfilling lives, and a decade that you are never going to forget. I'm really excited about this week's episode because it's something that I've been thinking about for a lot. I've honestly been marinating on this topic, I would say, for the best part of 2 months. And it keeps taking different forms. I keep thinking of different names for the episode, of different things I want to include. I have a running phone notes of all of the things. And then I realize that I just somehow need to let it go and just let the episode flow through me and what will come out. And I was waiting for the perfect time to record it, which you should never really do because there's never a perfect time. And I'm currently on a solo trip. So you'll see why the context of this matters in a moment. But I have come away 5 nights, my longest ever trip since I had the baby. And that was, over 2 years ago now. And wow, I've been literally in heaven, in solo trip paradise. And I'm in Vietnam, in a beautiful city called Hoi An. For those of you who have been, you'll be like, yes, Emma, that is an amazing place to do a trip. Well done. And I'm staying in this beautiful hotel. Honestly, I'm super grateful. Could not be having a better and more meaningful time away, spending time by myself. And yesterday, I woke up in the morning and most of the trip has been shopping in the old town, beauty treatments, being in the hotel, and I really felt like being more in nature. And luckily the hotel is just on the outskirts next to the paddy fields. There's the rice paddy fields and they have free bicycles. So I took a bicycle and I went for a cycle. Now I absolutely love cycling. I used to cycle a lot when I lived in the city and I never do it anymore. And I just had this moment when I was cycling along and I was like, wow, how did this moment come into being? How did this moment become available to me? I would never have thought in however many million years that it would be possible that I would be on this trip, that I would be doing these things that I've, almost like in a way, I thought my life was going down one path, so I'd had to compromise on other things. And it just had a very strong, almost like existential moment of thank you to myself, to the universe, to my husband for looking after the baby, but that's another story. But I just felt so grateful because it really just felt like this moment of I created this possibility for myself through knowing that I am in self-worth and I deserve the life in my 30s that is truly what I want. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. I want to talk to you about how you can open what I call the portal of possibility so that you can live a life in your 30s that you actually adore. The life that you feel is truly you. And even deeper than that you can create a life that is possible for you that will include love. It will include a partner and a relationship, and if you want it, a family. So that's what we're going to dive into today, and I have a lot to say. This episode is especially relevant for you if you find yourself in that part of life, which I often refer to as the messy middle, but if you're in a place where you're not 100% sure what you want to do next, but the path laid out for you feels boring, or it feels like uninspiring, or maybe actually feels like you know for sure that you don't want that. This episode will also really hit home for you if there are things that you do want, but you are afraid that you can't get them, or you're stuck in uncertainty of how you're going to get them. And it's just in general an episode for somebody who needs inspiration. Maybe you've been feeling a bit funky, you've been in a place where things haven't been moving so flowing so smoothly or in the timelines or the order that you want. And I hope that you finish this episode and you will have some inspiration of how to shift this feeling, how to make a change. And it's just something that I've been thinking about a lot recently, because it doesn't just relate to the smaller life decisions. For example, this life decision to go on a solo trip is a relatively small life decision. Of course, obviously it's a big deal, booking a flight and going away for 5 days and doing all of the things, but it's a temporary decision, let's say. But I'm talking also about the big decisions, those big life leaps, whether that is going through a really big shift in your career, whether it's going through a big life-altering breakup, maybe it's even moving country, whatever it is for you. This episode will hit home, because we're talking all about how to create a path forward that isn't available to you in your mind right now. And actually what this episode is how to manifest differently. Because, we talk about manifestation, which by definition is, how to actually achieve the thing that you want by actively going out and getting it, or by actively signaling the universe that you want it. But I think that a lot of the time we're manifesting from the wrong place. And that's really where I want to start today. We're manifesting from the wrong place a lot of the time because we're manifesting from the small box that we live in. The small box that we live in is the social conditioning. It's the way that we've been brought up that has taught us that things need to happen at a certain time, in a certain order. Maybe that's been signaled to you by your parents. Maybe it's to do with the community where you grew up, the culture, the religion. Maybe it's the group of friends that you're in when everyone's doing the same thing and you're doing something different. Whatever it is, when we manifest from the place that things aren't available to us or possible to us because they are illogical, right? The thing doesn't feel like it could potentially happen because it's so far away from the life that I expected or thought of for myself, then the desires won't come. The things that we want aren't going to come through. Other things might come through. Life will move and evolve, but the thing that you really want isn't going to appear. Or something else that you thought you wanted will appear, and when you get it, you will be like, oh, actually, that doesn't feel right. That doesn't feel good. So I want you to just sit with yourself for a moment and think, are you manifesting your deepest desires, your deepest dreams in your life from what you truly, truly want, or what you have been taught to want? This is a very deep question, because a lot of the time when it comes to social conditioning, it's really hard to see the end of where our, the way we've grown up, the social conditioning from around us ends, and where our own wants and desires begin. Because I always say this, but often we really absorb so much of what is available to us, because often we think that we want certain things so much because of what we've been taught that we want. So I want to put this in context. So when I was 26, 27, and all of my friends started to do one thing, this brought up for me the need and the desire to also do something similar. But the thing was, at this point in time, I actually didn't want to be married, in a relationship, buying a house and settling down. But I thought that that was the life that was available to me. I didn't realize that there was a completely different life available to me. So I was in a way just conforming. Again, being a conformist is human nature. Nothing wrong with it. It's what we all do. But at some point, and I'm lucky that I did this in my 20s, because I was very conscious back then, not as conscious as when I went through my turning 30 journey, but I at some point realized that the more I was trying to fit myself into the box of the life that everyone else around me was living and the life that I had been taught that I should live, the more it didn't come. And it was really frustrating, because it was like, but I want that too. I want that relationship. I want to, be a lawyer in London and make a good salary. I want to live in a nice house, all of those things. But those things didn't come. And when they did come, the version that they came in it actually just didn't feel right. For example, I got into a relationship when I was from the age of 25 to 27 with someone and was pretending this could be a person for me, but it just wasn't, because I was trying to fit myself into the box of life that I had been taught. And at some point along the way, and I think this happened in my 30s, I opened what I call the portal of possibility. The portal of possibility is like literally if you imagine a box and you're going to like carve a little hole in the box and step through and see, wow, there is so much more available to me right now. There is so much more of life that I could be living, but I just didn't even know it existed. It was like I was like moving around in the dark inside of this box trying to find the life that I wanted, and only until I saw that little crack of light did I understand that there was something different, there was something better. And it was really at every time I've been at a crossroads of my life, I have opened that little portal of possibility and stuck my head in and said, oh, maybe there's something different there, maybe I should explore it. And that's when things all completely lined up and I started to actually manifest from a place of what I really wanted. As a real life example of the portal of possibility opening for me, it was the fact that I used to be a lawyer. The fact that even though I had originally done a psychology degree and I loved everything to do with psychology and human connection, the way the brain works, all of those things, the box that I lived in, the black box of conditioning was, telling me that you had to go and do a mainstream job. And the portal of possibility opened for me when I allowed myself to say, what if there was something completely different than law that I would actually be good at and I could actually do, and that would be a job that I loved. I would never in a million years imagine, if you would have told me back then when I was 25 working in a corporate law firm, that I would be a coach, that I would be an Instagram influencer, a thought leader, be writing and speaking on these topics every day, that I would have coached 1,000 women, that I would have this turning community of 100 women who are in my inner circle. I would never even thought it was available to me because I wasn't living in the portal of possibility. Now, when my head peeped through the crack of the box, it didn't see the future as I wanted it to be, or I wasn't able to look at the future and say, oh, I'm going to be a coach. I just saw hope. I saw an alternative. I saw a way out. I saw that it was possible for me to live a different timeline, to live out a different life and a different path. The path wasn't linear. Most of you know my story. For those of you that don't, I did many things along the way, many different jobs. As soon as I quit law, it wasn't an easy ride. I worked in a bar. I went to get another law job. I then quit that law job. I worked in an event sales sponsorship role. I then moved into a startup and worked in endless things, really, like typical manifesting generator, was exploring. My Saturn return at this point was very, very strong. But the point is that I opened the portal of possibility for myself, and it was the most freeing thing in the world. And what I want you to do to think today is how you can open the portal of possibility for yourself by just opening a little crack in that box. Now, the biggest resistance that I think happens during this time is the belief that it's not logical, that it doesn't make sense. And obviously that phrase will probably come up. It might be possible for other people, but it's not possible for me. And then there's going to be all the social noise coming in. So that's going to be the financial restraints. It's going to be that I'm stuck in a corporate job and I have a mortgage, and how could I ever leave? And I'm going to let my parents down. And if it's moving country, there's going to be all those feelings of I can't leave my friends and my comfort of my living near my family. And if it's going to be about a relationship, it's going to be, I can't go through this breakup because then my whole life will need to change. And what if there's no one ahead of me what if I never fall in love again? What if I never meet somebody who's even half as good as this person, even though this person really isn't suitable for me? that noise, that mental chatter is going to become loud. And the more that you peek into the portal, the louder it will become. Your job is to know that it does not need to make any logical sense what the next step is. That is so important, because such a good life is waiting for you on the other side of logic, on the other side of things making sense. You have to let go of logical being the right path. Because what does it even mean to live a life that is logical for you? Does every single one of us get born into this world in order to live out the path that was laid out for them by those that came before them, by those that are surrounding them, by the way that society has decided? Of course not. Your soul came to this earth to go through its soul evolution, and every single soul has a different evolution. It's a different reason to be here. So I, came onto this earth. I was born into a certain life, into a certain community, to my parents, to the way that they decided to educate me, the way that they decided to bring me up. And then when I was able to make choices for myself, my soul didn't crave or want or desire the things that they wanted for me. And that isn't a bad thing. Mostly our parents just want us to be happy and for us to thrive and live our lives. And obviously some of you may be sitting here thinking, no, that's not true. My parents really just want me to be a lawyer in London, or work in banking in New York, or whatever the perfect ideal scenario of your parents is. But at the end of the day, your soul, the miracle of your soul being here in this world, wasn't for you to live a life that doesn't feel exciting. It wasn't for you to live a life that doesn't feel authentic. A question that I get asked a lot, like, how do you actually create the life that you want when there's so many limitations, so many obstacles? And here's the truth. The biggest obstacle in your way isn't anything external. It's your internal journey. It's your internal beliefs that you can live a better life, that you can have a job that will be more fulfilling, that you can live in a place that will just feel like more like you, that you can find a love and a relationship that actually is going to be the right one for you, and not the one that you're currently stuck in, or in the bad dates that you're currently going on. But it all comes down to how much you can ignore the background noise, and how much you can get rid of the shackles of logic, get rid of the shackles and the need for things to make sense. I've recently been studying a lot of Kabbalah. It's something that I'm becoming more and more connected to. And there's this concept in Kabbalah that we are a vessel. We're born into this world in this lifetime, and the vessel is our body. And in order to receive what we want, we have to create the right internal vessel for ourselves. And when you are creating a vessel for yourself that is shaped by our fear, by our conditioning, by what society wants, you're always going to energetically attract the experiences that match that, because it's not what your soul actually wants. I know I'm speaking a lot about the past life of being a lawyer, but the vessel at that point in time was so shaped by fear and conditioning that everything else in my life that I was magnetizing wasn't actually what I wanted. It was the version of what my soul thought was available to it by then, at that point. So the work to do on yourself isn't to want harder, it isn't to desire more. And this is why manifestation doesn't work sometimes, when you but I really want that thing, but it's not happening. That's not going to actually bring it into fruition. It's because you need to understand what's distorting the manifestation. What's distorting it is that you're manifesting from this place where your conditioning just isn't allowing you to really understand what you want. And I think the biggest question here that I always get asked, and that comes up for me even as I'm speaking now, is how do I know what I want? And I think that this is a question of, when do you feel the most like yourself? When do you feel the most lit up? Okay, I use that sentence a lot. That question I ask a lot is, what lights you up the most? When was the last time that you felt like things were in flow in your life? Was it when you were on a retreat in a group setting? For me, I look back on my life now and I can see, even as a child, I was often going to summer camps, and the highlights of my life, literally like the kind of memories of my life that I look back on my deathbed and remember are being 16 years old, round a campfire, people playing the guitar, everyone singing together, not in a hippie way, like in a genuinely like just kids having fun, but it was so like, it was so meaningful and it was so connected. And it's all of, for me, always been about people and connection and community. That is what lights me up. So when I'm sitting in the lawyer's office in a cubicle, I couldn't access any part of myself that felt that yearning and that need. The energy was all off. And now I see, whenever I'm around, to be honest, very specifically, a group of women who really empower me and light me up, and I'm in a place where I feel that likeness, that like-mindedness, that sameness, that's when I feel most like Emma, because my soul came here, something, I don't know exactly, I'm still on the journey of figuring it out, a lifelong journey, but there's something about that I was meant to be around other women and be around other souls doing this soul's work, expanding my life in this way. And when I let go of the shoulds and go into that desire, everything feels different. Like my body vibrates differently, I feel differently, and then I attract differently. And even just this trip to Vietnam, this solo trip, I can see the energy shift. Like as soon as I came here, and obviously taking away this whole story about community, I'm here back completely by myself, but I was suddenly, I was cycling. I love cycling. It's something that's really lights me up. I found the most amazing, cute little coffee spot. Everything suddenly just felt more light, and I could feel myself, my body, almost like easing into itself. And again, I use that word vibrate, but since I've been here, I've been vibrating on a different frequency because I've tapped into the part of myself that I haven't tapped into for a while, which was that, self-care. I've been doing loads of shopping. For me, that's something really important. I feel really lit up when I'm wearing clothes that feel good, and I'm actually, not necessarily just about spending money, although obviously I do like to do that, but more about like coming into my own personality, which is something that's obviously very hard to do all the time when you have a young baby at home. And I've just been 2 years postpartum, 3 years since I got pregnant. So I just think that the question of how to receive, how to let your vessel receive that isn't shaped by fear and conditioning, and to attract the experiences that actually match your deepest desires to become that next level, for your soul to even rise up to that next level, so that you can attract the partner, that you can attract the right place to live, that you can attract the career for you. It's all about following those breadcrumbs, those nudges of what lights you up, and looking back on your life right now to see what has lit you up until now. It's a really great activity that you can do. You can literally take it away from this episode and think about, for the next few weeks, how can you try to manifest from a place of your deepest desires, and how you can let go of the things that were not meant for you. And I want to just talk a little bit more about the portal of possibility and how to get into it. So as I've just been saying, the thing that closes the portal is really focusing on the need for approval, people pleasing, wanting to be the same as our family or our parents or our friends or our siblings. All of those things can really close the portal when you're really trying to get something that is not based on what you want, and trying to receive something that you don't necessarily want to receive. That closes the portal of possibility to you. And what opens the portal is trusting yourself beyond what feels logically possible for you. The act of trusting yourself signals the universe that something new is coming, okay? The portal opens towards possibility. What I mean by that is the portal doesn't open because you say, I really one day would love to write a book. I'm going to open that possibility now. I mean, that will help, obviously, because you're getting clear about what you want, but the portal of possibility opens when you truly understand that you are capable of writing a book, that is available to you. So I'm using this example because I really would love to write a book someday, and I've noticed the difference between me saying, one day I'm going to write a book, and then when I actually shift that and say, I'm going to build a vessel that will enable me to attract a life where I will have the time, space, capacity, desire to write a book. Do you see the difference there? So I think that it's really important when it comes to the portal of possibility to know that you don't have to know exactly what's coming or how it is coming, and to let go of any logic, and to know that it can come as soon as you decide. That little black box, you can just open the little window and take a peek inside, and know that what's waiting for you on the other side of logic once you enter the portal of possibility is going to be so much better than the life path that you are currently on. Yes, it will be scarier. Yes, you're going to have to change. Yes, you're going to have to do things that are uncomfortable. Yes, you're going to have to let go. You're probably going to have to disappoint people. You're probably going to have to disappoint the past version of yourself that thought life would be a certain way. But I promise you that if you are stuck where you are right now, then the bold actions that you take, the decisions that you take right now are going to lead you onto the path that you're meant to be on. And it will be a bold decision. It will be an investment of some sort. Like for me, it was always investing in a coaching program that I couldn't afford at the time, that opened up me being a fully booked one-on-one coach, booking to go on that retreat or a solo trip that I couldn't really afford the flights, but something in me intuitively told me that I should go. And I think that the word intuition here is really important, because we've been speaking about logic, but what about intuition? Following those nudges, following those breadcrumbs, knowing that your future self is signaling you all the time, and you sometimes don't even realize it because you're not connected enough to your intuition. And I love this saying. I actually don't know where it's from, but I heard it really recently of your future self is constantly pulling you in the direction you're supposed to be pulled in. It's literally communicating with you all the time and telling you. So I hear this a lot when people say to me, oh, I didn't know why I wanted to sign up to coaching with you. I didn't know why I booked to come on the retreat, but I only understood afterwards that it was because I had to open this whole new, life path that came afterwards. So I always say yes, because your future self was telling you that you have to do that thing, even when you didn't realize. So listen to those nudges. Listen to them, because those nudges aren't just oh, I wish I could have a better life, and I'm looking on Instagram at other people and thinking, oh, they have such a good life, like maybe I could have that too. No, that's your future self telling you. Like my future self used to say to me, Emma, give yourself permission. You can leave the law. You can leave all of your education that feels really scary and do something completely unrelated. You can move country. You can give it a try with this man that, you didn't think anything was going to come of it, but actually he's going to be the best dad and the best partner you could ever ask for. Listen, connect. How to do that? Maybe that's a topic for another episode, but I personally think it's all about really getting quiet, connecting with yourself, somatic work, subconscious reprogramming, all of the things that we do inside the Turning community. So just want to remind you that the portal of possibility is a place that you can literally find yourself in already from after you've listened to this episode. And if you want to be supported as you open up a new path for yourself in your 30s, as you start to make more bold, more aligned, more authentic decisions, please come and do it in a way that you are supported. My Turning community is literally the best place to be for a single woman in her 30s who is wanting to dive deeper, who is wanting to live a more aligned life. We're currently on waitlist when this comes out, but in the next few weeks, the doors will be reopening. I've got lots of exciting things coming up, so make sure that you drop your name on the waitlist. And another bold decision that you can make is to come to my Turning retreat. I am running a life-changing retreat in the jungle in Koh Samui, Thailand, where I live, and I was thinking about this the other day. We're half booked already and we've still got 4 months to go, which is really exciting because I know for sure that the retreat will sell out. But before we were half booked, I felt a contraction that I thought, oh my God, what if nobody signs up? I just put, a big deposit down on the retreat centre. What if no one's going to come? And then I realised, wow, every single time that I have made a decision to do something really bold, like going on a retreat, it is because that's part of my soul's evolution. Again, my future self signalling my past self to do that. And no one random podcast episode or Instagram post was going to make that difference. Maybe it will be the trigger that will make me sign up. But every time that happened, it was because I got fully in touch with myself, got quiet with myself and understood, okay, I'm ready for my next level. I entered another portal of possibility. I opened outside of the black box and went into the portal. And it's none of my business when that's going to happen, because every single one of you will have to go through your own journey, your own evolution in order to get there. And then I said to myself, it's none of my business when people will do that, because when it happened for me, it wasn't because somebody randomly posted about a retreat. It was because I was cycling through the rice paddy fields, having an amazing life, experiencing and realizing, wow, this life is amazing. I get to go to live it. And then it dawned on me, right, I'm ready for the retreat, and went online to book it. So I'm not going to try to convince you. I'm going to just share with you that if you are ready to have more conversations like this, if you are ready to really figure out what your authentic desires are and learn how to manifest and build a life that you love in your 30s, then please come and join us. It's going to be the most epic week, and I can't wait to meet some of you there in person. If you've liked this episode, please share and rate, review, follow the podcast. I've got lots more good episodes coming in the future, and I look forward to hearing what you think about it, and I'll see you on the podcast next week.